Hey, everybody. Yep, we've got more weird and negative and bad news from the Trump administration. This has to do with Social Security, and this is based on a report from the Washington Post that has been passed around, has gone viral. And it is in Business Advisor, it is in a number of publications, both in America and around the world, really. The story basically goes, as they say, like this, or as Paul Harvey might say, here's the rest of the story. Uh, the Washington Post has a disturbing story that should give every true American, I said it just like that, pause. While the Trump administration is distracting you by giving Russia secrets, it's destabilizing the very core of the American economy and only for more psychological control over the people. America has let a rogue group into the White House that really does not like America. There is no other way to explain what is happening. And, I love my country. So I'm not just saying this to say it, but somebody has to say it. And unfortunately, I am far from the only one saying it. Good old mainstream Americans are speaking to you in this way, and you're listening to it, and you know you know that something is wrong. You know it, and I know it. Let me continue. What I'm talking about here were not campaign promises made by the president. Indeed, messing with Social Security was something that Donald Trump said he was not going to do. Okay? He said it. Now, when someone might say, hey, this is in Project 2025, guess what? The president said, I had nothing to do with it. In other words, don't worry, I had nothing to do with it. The message being you don't have to worry about it because you're not going to hear about it when I'm elected. Wrong. All right? Wrong. But Elon Musk is hurting Social Security. Lines at your local Social Security office are about to get longer. And if it survives a wave of closures of funds that were brought on by these cuts under the Trump administration, done by Elon Musk's Doge, or Department of Government Efficiency, unit. And the Social Security field offices that do stay open are in for a flood of visitors after the short-staffed government agency now has limited phone services for beneficiaries. That might be bad news for elderly Americans relying on Social Security checks without reliable transportation or internet. And now, if you are one of those who gets your money via direct deposit, you're one of the lucky ones. But if you're getting it by a check, it may be a rough period for you. I just being honest. In a memo obtained by Business Insider, acting Deputy Commissioner for Operations Doris Diaz told Social Security Administration staff on March 13th that recent reductions in phone service could lead to 75,000 to 85,000 additional visitors to the office each week, showing up at these local field offices in order to file Social Security claims. The memo came before the agency announced it was changing its identity proofing procedures in an effort to reduce fraud risk, which will, in part, require some beneficiaries who cannot use online systems to come into field offices to confirm their identities. Quote, it's going to further strain people's ability to access the earned benefits, Kathleen Womack, the Director of Social Security and Disability Policy at the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, said. The agency already had an average call wait time of 1 hour and 44 minutes on February of 2025 and received an average of around 307,000 calls. But Business Insider has heard from nearly 4,000 older adults in recent months, many of whom don't have adequate retirement savings and rely on their monthly checks to afford essentials like housing, groceries, and health care. Some retirees told Business Insider that they are anxious about the impact that federal funding cuts will have on their monthly checks. The overall impact on the American economy is dire, ladies and gentlemen. Spending by consumers, including those elderly drawing Social Security from the hard-earned income, drives the American economy. Only an idiot would not see that. But we have that kind of a person or persons in charge of America right now, and it's right now time to call it that way, and not just demand change, but make change. We need to take some kind of legal, punitive action to stop this behavior before it's too late. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever taken a course in economics, then you have to understand that C plus I plus G, government plus investment, which is in businesses, plus G, C plus I plus G, C is consumer, I is investment, G is government, C plus I plus G, plus NX, that's exports. That equals gross domestic product. That's right. Gross domestic product is what that equals. I'm going to give you a little economics lesson here. You would say, okay, Zenny, for those of you who you say, hey, Zenny, you didn't take an economics course, right? And so you want to see that what I'm saying is true, right? That it actually is an economics course, right? You want to see that? Uh, and I'm happy, pleased as punch to show that to you right now. And that's precisely what I'm going to do. Um, and it's GDP, right? GDP equals C plus I plus G. Yep, equals what? Plus G. C plus, I've got the C here, plus I plus G plus NX. That's equal to GDP. Boom. Okay. Now, let me show you right here that calculation is common. Here's what it looks like. And you should have got this in school on top of all that. Voila, there it is. All right. And it says it in black and white, folks. I'll even enlarge it for you with my handy dandy zoom in device from Google here. Once, twice, and I'll even go a third time to make it even bigger. There we go. GDP is calculated using the formula GDP plus C plus I plus G, where C is consumption, I is investment or business, G is government spending, and NX is net exports. In other words, exports minus imports, right? And they give you a breakdown of each component. C, consumption, represents private consumption, expenditures by households and nonprofit organizations encompassing spending on goods and services. So I'm saying to you that the common elderly person drawing Social Security will be impacted. They don't get their money. It hurts the American economy. They are representative of those households that I'm talking about, folks. All right. Then we have investment, which refers to business expenditures on capital goods, inventories, and housing, as well as residential construction. In order for this to mean anything, businesses have to spend money to hire people, right? So, hey, look, if the business is getting its money, let's say they have federal contracts and Elon Musk is running around cutting those federal contracts, guess what? The for-profit businesses get hurt too. Then we have G. The G is what Trump wants to cut. That includes all government expenditures, salaries of government employees, road construction, public schools, and military spending. You cut all of this stuff, including Social Security. It hurts the G. The G is smaller, so therefore GDP is what? It's smaller. So if you're saying, well, Zenny, doesn't that mean we're going to have a recession if the government's actually shrinking in size? Yes, that's precisely what will happen. Awful, okay? NX is net exports, okay? So my point is that what the Trump administration is doing, no one needed. Now, if you're going to say to me, well, they're doing it because we have this large government debt, let me tell you something. That large government debt of $36 trillion is offset. Now, let me ask you, do you know how to determine if we're in trouble in terms of debt? I'll tell you. You're in trouble when debt equals equity. So let's say that in order for us to be in trouble right now, the United States would have to have just 36 million in equity, and that's it. The United States has, are you ready? 63 million in equity. 63 trillion in equity. So you have 36 trillion in debt, 63 trillion in equity. That comes out to a percentage of 0.57. That's well below 1. That's just over half, okay? So we have to go a long way before we're in trouble. We're not in trouble, folks. It's a trick that these folks who think that a small government is better want to play on you, but they and also don't want you to have any help, not even thinking that their ideology actually hurts the economy because they never got the realization that, hey, this spending on people where you think their jobs aren't worth anything or that contract isn't doing anything, it is doing something. It's putting money in the American economy so that grocery store down the street can stay open, or that bar that you like to go to can remain pouring your drinks, or that restaurant you like to go to eat at can continue cooking meals that you love, stay open because you have the money to go there. All right, it's that simple. Okay, it's that simple. And this system that I'm telling you about is the real lifeblood of the American standard of living. You take it away and we're poor. We take it away and our ability to move up and out of poverty ends. And it becomes your problem. Something that is in your lap and you didn't even expect to be there because you sided with people who had these crazy ideas about the economy based on these silly notions about people that they have to hold on to because, well, it makes them feel better about themselves. Yeah, there's some people that screw it up, all right? And they won't let go of them, okay? How else to explain why anybody would be stupid enough to take office and start just whacking away at the economy, thinking, oh, this is going to improve the situation. Remember how he said, hey, look, I'll get the prices down and the economy will be up. Well, the economy was actually healthy. Don't you know? Or maybe you forgot. It was actually healthy. We were not in recession. We were not declining. There are people who are having problems finding jobs because, for example, in this internet society, we have 84 million fake jobs for every 77 million that has been looking for them, which is another problem that the government hasn't straightened out and could. All right. But no, instead, we get these folks who are couch potato conservatives who have no idea how to analyze the American economy, who do things like Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, thought, well, I don't like that I can't make Disney, adopt the don't say gay mantra in Florida, so I'm going to just take over Disney World. Stupid. Figured out you couldn't do it because of the complicated Reedy Creek Improvement District, which means what? Which means we have contemporary people in charge who don't have the brains to understand the complex legislation of the past. Okay? For them, everything is simple. It's either left or right. But the real world is far more complicated than left and right, folks. In fact, left and right is something that people just sort of use to get you to part with your money to get them elected. And that's it. That's it. Okay? That's it. Don't fall for the okie doke, as President Obama might say. Fix Social Security now. Call your congressman or woman. Tell them to demand that these reductions in payments be put right back where they were. Take them to court. Hey, start a class action lawsuit against the government. That's right, sue your government for not doing its job in maintaining the American standard of living. Use the legal system the way it's supposed to be used to help us as Americans. Do that. I'm subscribed to Zenny62 and bookmark ZennyReport.com. That ends the stream.